Hello and welcome to Scrolling with Ceazor. Today is April 2nd, 2026. Lots of news today, and as always, this is not financial advice. Do with it as you will and make your own decisions. Okay, so the charts look pretty red today. Everything is down. ETH is down about 3 to 4%. Gold is down 2.5-ish. BTC is down 1.8%. Hype down 3%. Most things are in the red today as a result of whatever. I have no idea. But if you're providing liquidity within some sort of range, that's pretty good for you because there's a nice juicy candle today for some volume and some trading fees. So good luck with your liquidity provision, and let's hope we don't continue to bleed for weeks and weeks and start to feel a little bit more FOMO, a little bit more frothy. The market is pretty dry. There are lots of projects who want to launch but don't launch because just the liquidity is so dry and everyone's scared and fear is like massive, and it just doesn't make sense. You can't raise $1. You can't do a token sale. You likely can't get liquidity into your project if you do deploy. It's pretty tough times out there right now. Okay, so let's move on to the tweets right away. I'm going to skip Pharaohs today and go, because I will pull them up a little bit later in the tweets as I go through stuff, and I'll show you kind of what I did with them today. Okay, so here we have the first tweet. Now these tweets are not in any specific order. Again, I don't like to sort because there's so many of them. I'm just going to kind of go through them and try to hope that I don't talk about the same thing twice in this episode. Okay, so here we have Wiz. So Wiz is talking about FX protocol. So most DeFi makes you choose safe yield or leveraged upside. FX protocol built both with the same collateral stack. Deposit yield bearing ETH or BTC, and the protocol splits the exposure with two rails. So FX USD, a fully collateralized stablecoin that captures yield, or X positions leverage long short. So that's the core innovation. So he's basically just kind of giving you a full rundown of the products that can be found at FX Protocol. It's a pretty good TLDR if you just want to read and you don't want to read the complete docs and stuff like that. You can see all of the systems that they have pretty much up to date right now, with a very, very bullet pointed, very quick read and so forth. So you can check out this, and I figured I would share it, and you can check it out. So over to some more news. So Liquidity has this part of the Bold stablecoin. They have some voting mechanism where a portion, I think it's 30%. I have to double check my video or read the docs again, but I'm pretty sure it's 30% of the APR paid to mint. So people, mint Bold, and they have to select the APR they're willing to pay, and 30% of all of that is aggregated to a smart contract where people who stake the Liquidity token, LQTY token, they can then vote on where that 30%. So 15% of the yield on Bold. Oh, no. Okay, so that 30% goes to where these people vote. And the people have voted significantly to send it to Uniswap v4. So now if you put stable coins, so you're looking at USDC versus Bold in Uniswap, then it's currently spitting out around 15% APY. Of course, you have to go and check it. You have to think about it. The numbers will change as people kind of jump in there. So yeah, you can look that over. You can consider if that's something you want to do. I currently provide liquidity on Curve, the Bold USDC Curve pool. I find it to be easier to manage and so forth. But that's what I'm doing. But you do you, and you decide if you want to migrate over to this pool or not. I might even actually do so. I will look at this a little bit deeper after this show if I have some time. Okay, so I have another tweet here from Liquidity. And yesterday I talked about this. It was an April Fool's joke, of course. It says Circle acquired Liquidity. Right here below the tweet, there's a disclaimer. This is an April Fool's joke. Obviously, be careful, And, in my podcast, I did say there was going to be a lot of shit posting and tweeting and people making stupid jokes. It's April Fool's Day. You have to be careful of the news. But after this tweet, I was looking around at stuff, and I was actually looking on Ethos. And Ethos, I saw someone negatively commented or negatively reviewed Liquidity, and then I read their post, and they're like, yeah, this shill here led people to believe that this actually happened, and they bought the LQTY token. So I find that to be pretty like weak, but at the same time, it is true. Like if you go to the chart, here's the chart LQTY. You can see yesterday there was a nice little green candle, a decent amount of volume, like definitely more volume than regularly a pump and then a retraction, as people realize that it actually wasn't. But like I find it to be kind of unbelievable, but at the same time, maybe there's a language barrier thing, and people are just like they have bots that automate this kind of news, or maybe people don't read carefully. I don't know. Like to me, I thought this was a pretty funny joke. Like obviously not, right? Like there's nothing to acquire. Like there's no admin powers. It's unstoppable. Like its own. What can they do? Like, why would they buy this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I understand how Liquidity works, and I understand how Circle works, and I understand like that this is a joke. And I read this disclaimer tweet, which is underneath the real tweet, and I was like, yeah, it's an April Fool's joke, right? So it's funny, but it makes me think about the fact of these April Fool's jokes and how explicit you have to be. Like maybe you have to start with this is an April Fool's joke and not real, and then lay the joke down. But that kind of like kills the humor, right? Like that's the whole point of an April Fool's joke, is to say something silly and then say, oh yeah, April Fool's, it's just a joke. Maybe it needs to be in the same tweet to protect people from this kind of stupidity. And at the same time, like people just, it's Circle acquired Liquidity, I'm just going to go buy the coin. Boom, and they just buy it. Like that kind of goes to show like the foolish apery that people kind of do as well, without like considering, like if Circle did acquire Liquidity, they can't change anything. So why would that be a good time to buy? Because other people are going to buy, and it's just going to get hyped, but that doesn't change the fundamentals of the protocol, of the token, and so forth. But anyhow, so I thought I'd mention this. Like maybe maybe all protocols, they need to stop with the April Fool's jokes. They need to abstain from all kind of foolery, all kind of jokes of all nature, and never do an April Fool's joke again, regardless. All protocols, all companies, and all individuals, we should just be 100% factual and no jokes on Twitter, I think. Is that what you want? I don't know. So anyhow, I thought I would mention this and kind of highlight it and so forth, and show what happened and talk about it a little bit. And you consider what you think about this, and I'd love to hear what people think about this. Okay, moving on. So here we have Hey Anon. Hey Anon's shipping like crazy. Okay, so that yesterday I talked about they plugged they created a, well, I don't even know how to call this thing, an MCP, right? Where you can your AI bot can now connect with Pump Fund. And today they're shipping your AI bot can now connect with Meteor Exchange, right? So can do all kinds of stuff. Create V1, V2, or DLMM liquidity pools, and you can plug your agent into there now. So I feel like these guys are shipping quite a bit. They are working every day and shipping new tech all the time. So yeah, if you are if you're using AI agents to automate some of your crypto stuff, maybe you can take a look at this and see if this makes sense for you to plug into. Moving on, here we have ETH strategy. You won't be able to hear this, but basically this guy is talking. He's on a podcast, and what's he say? He says someone said to him that ETH, the ecosystem, is going to thrive, but ETH token is going to die. And he counteracts that and says well, no, I think the opposite. The token will survive and the ecosystem would die. That's a more likely outcome, because that's what happened with Bitcoin. I kind of disagree with him. I'm sorry. I think I don't maybe I don't know exactly what the definition of ETH the token will die and ETH the token will succeed. What that means, does that just mean the token will pump? But like, people do stupid things, people buy things that, like, there's shit tons of tokens out there that have enormous market caps and their ecosystems are ghost towns, right? There is that, right? But then there are also shit tons of ecosystems that are dead and their token is dead. But you don't really see any where it's like tokens thriving and ecosystems thriving, which is kind of sad, which is kind of crazy. But like, there's a lot of reasons. Like, there's different kinds of investors, different, like even me, like I won't buy a DeFi token unless that token has yield and utility and so forth. However, I buy ETH, and ETH doesn't have, revenue share, right? They're not generating tons of revenue. So maybe I'm a hypocrite in that sense. I hold ETH, but I won't hold a DeFi token unless it has rev share or utility, right? That I want, right? So I don't know, like, who knows what's going to happen, but I do think, I'm betting on ETH token price. I want it to go up. I hold ETH. Otherwise, if I just cared about ETH, the ecosystem, I wouldn't hold ETH token. I would, hold all stable coins or use it or seek only APR on things. I would sell all my ETH and just utilize DeFi and protocols to generate yield and stuff like that. But anyways, so that's that. You can think about that. I wonder what you think about this as well, people. But let's kind of move on to the next one. So here we have Infinify. This is a token that I've kind of, for lack of a better word, I've kind of ghosted. I really should take a look at it. Maybe this weekend I'll take a deep look at it and see if it's worth a Ceazor snack sandwich video. But I've kind of ghosted it and ignored it. But now it's gone live on Katana. I've talked about Katana in the past. If you don't know what it is, it's like basically a VE33 chain. It's pretty cool. So this was retweeted by Yearn Finance, and that's what it kind of came across my table. And so basically you can get their stablecoin, which is SIUSD, on Katana, and there are some opportunities for you to do so. You bridge it with a Stargate, right? You can put it on Morpho here. The Morpho market is curated by Yearn, and you can kind of check out what this is and be warned that obviously there's going to be some Yearn integrations, like, so maybe the Yearn Vault that's already there might take advantage of this market as well by supplying, right? And if you go to Morpho here and you kind of look through this market, which they've linked to, there's about $700,000 in there right now, which is pretty cool, which is pretty good. Where did I see this? Here. So Vault's listing this market. So this market is part of this Yearn OG Vault. This is a how to explain. This is a Morpho Vault on Morpho, curated by Yearn. So the tokens, if you deposit into this vault here, this OG Vault, maybe I should click it and see what opens up. So if you lend your USDC here, right, into this vault, then you get exposure to all of these tokens, and you can see the bottom one does have some exposure to IUSD. And then if you go to Yearn Finance and you deposit your USDC into Yearn Finance, then Yearn Finance will send some of your USDC to this vault, and then this vault will expose you a little bit to that SIUSD. So I think I need to do a little bit due diligence on this. If Yearn kind of thinks it's all good, I kind of feel okay to just, I'm not going to ape it. I need to do my due diligence, but I do think, that I do know that Yearn does a fair amount of due diligence on things, but yeah, so I should do my own due diligence and verify stuff. But I did open up Pharaohs to kind of give a quick look at this Infinify USD token. As you can see, some of the safety scores are pretty good. It has a very good peg stability. Its exit liquidity is very low though, so be careful if you're buying it and so forth. So if it has very little exit liquidity, I'm not exactly sure how it can keep its stability so well. However, it does have exposure to PayPal USD and USDC and the Go token. It has a decent scores as you can kind of look around. Of course, dig deeper. You can read through all of this and get a pretty good picture of what's going on and so forth, and opportunities for yield and market cap. As you can see, there was a significant drop in market cap last month from 170 million all the way down to 120 or 115. Now that could be a result of other things that happened in the market and people wanted to de-risk from other protocols like the USDR or maybe even the XUSD or something. I'm not sure. I can't remember what happened around March 20th last month, but there could have been something that happened out there, and that as a result, people wanted to de-risk from protocols they did not actually feel safe in. But as you can see, there's significant amounts of burning. It's not growing right now. It's in a burning trend. So so you can check through this and you can see how good it is, how much information you can get from one source here on a single on a single stable coin and so forth. Now there's a lot more that you should look at, but I just want to give you a little taste of it and kind of look at it. Like I said, I'm going to do a little bit more due diligence on this and figure out whether or not I want to be exposed to this or not. Okay, moving on. So here we have this one's pretty fun. This one's kind of strange, and I want to talk a little bit about this. So it's like funny how sensitive people are. This guy just says this is the Drift Protocol founder. So here we have this guy tweeting, I don't know, Punk Monkey HL says this is the Drift founder, by the way, and there's a picture of like an attractive young woman, right? And then people replying, stop shaming anyone. Bitfounder was a guy. I forget about that. And then this girl says, there's no reason pretty women can't be techies. Stop with this nonsense. And then Punk's like, your comment implies you would not have complained if you didn't find her pretty. And that to me is insane. And then this guy says, stop this misogynistic slop off my TL. Oh, get this. And then he's like, that it just says that this is the Drift founder with a picture of her posing with the Drift founder at a crypto event. If you consider it misogynistic, it says more about your own thoughts than about mine. Now, I think he's kind of trolling. To say, this is the founder, by the way, and choosing the most attractive picture that she put publicly, I guess. I don't know, maybe she's got an OnlyFans, who the hell knows, right? I don't know. But like it kind of goes to show like how easy people can get triggered and how other people add their own thoughts into their own thoughts into the context of a post. Now, I do think he's being trolly and that he did mean what these people are saying and that he was being misogynistic and he was trying to say, look, Drift is wrecked because it was run by a sexy girl or an attractive girl, whatever, right? I do think that was the message he was putting on the table, and that's what most people would read. But he does kind of go to he is making a point that like, you shouldn't put your own context into other people's messages, your own thoughts. You shouldn't, always like read between the lines especially when you're replying with anger and you're calling people out for stuff. Because maybe I could be wrong. Maybe he is truthful. Maybe he just wanted to say this is the founder and he wasn't being misogynistic or anything. And what he's saying is just kind of showing people their own evil thoughts or their own misogynistic thoughts. Now, I highly doubt that, but it does kind of expose the way people kind of inject their own biases, their own thoughts into the messages of other people. Now, that's society. That's what we do, right? That's what people do. You have to read between the lines. You cannot take people at face value. You must read between the lines. Otherwise, you get wrecked, scammed, and just taken advantage of. So, I don't know. It's a pretty cool message about like what people do and what people think and how people say. But anyways, let's move on. Okay. So today in crypto, today in DeFi research, so he's like, which protocols are affected and not affected in today's drift exploit? So I don't want to read this whole thing, but there is a huge amount. It's a big list. Okay, so it kind of goes into, I don't know most of these protocols because I don't use Solana. So yeah, but it goes to show that like just because drift got wrecked, it doesn't mean there isn't other wreckage all around. So we have this kind of Lego build ecosystem where protocols are dependent on other protocols to be safe, right? And in this case, we have a lot of them, a lot of protocols. We have Piggy Bank, Pyra, Neutral Trade, Purina, Gauntlet, Gauntlet again, Jesus Christ, Gauntlet, Ranger Finance, Luno, DeFi Carrot, Reflect, Component, Fuse. I don't know any of these almost, right? But anyways, they're all affected because this one protocol got drained, exploited, whatever we want to call that. Okay, and then there's a list down here of protocols that are safe and did not get wrecked because of this kind of thing. But it does kind of go to highlight that like just because one protocol gets hacked doesn't mean you're safe outside of it. And we've seen it growing and growing. We've seen this issue happen again and again and again where like, oh, I didn't even know I was exposed to that fucking shit. And now I'm wrecked too. And it goes to show that how important it is for protocols to do heavy due diligence on protocols they partner with and integrate. You can't just take it, oh, they're audited. Let's do a quick check of their smart contracts. It needs to be slower. Protocols, the devs, like people are depending on the devs with their money. And let's say you have to pay a performance fee for a project to deposit in it. So sometimes you'll look at like, and you'll be like, oh, this project I can deposit in it, and they're going to take 10% of my yield, right? A performance fee. And then this project I can deposit in it, and they're going to take only 2% of my yield. Well, obviously I want more yield, so I'm going to go there. Well, no, you have to think about, is that project doing heavy due diligence and not exposing you to contaminants that can lose you even more, right? So I think that this is kind of an issue we have in the ecosystem today, where projects are more eager to expand, more eager to integrate and to access yield than they are to do the due diligence and make sure things are safe. Yeah, so think about that, especially when you're depositing into stuff and how heavy you're going to get exposed to other things. Moving on. Here we have Alexa. So this girl here, there's a post here. There's two things I want to say about this. First of all, she's got that heavy like Eastern European accent, which is kind of nice. Like maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's racist. I don't know. But she's got a heavy accent on her, and I find it nice and pleasant to listen to. So she's talking about using AI to automate her processes, her content creation process. And she's saying that she uses like the first 2 or 3 days of a month to create all the content for the whole month, and then she kind of uses AI to distribute it and to kind of to get it out there, to scheduleize it. I kind of disagree with her on some aspects of this. Number one, using AI to automate your life is fantastic, and then you can like what she says, you can go have espresso martinis and relax, and the rest of you work hard for 3 days, and the rest of your month is free to go. However, then you're kind of unplugged for most of the news. So like today is the second, so she's aware of the stuff that happened yesterday and today, and she'll be aware of the things that happen tomorrow. But what about on the 10th? She's unaware of this, right? Now maybe she can use AI to collect that data and then at the end of the month she can present it. However, if she's a content creator, assuming she's giving out news, then people want news up to date, right? So I feel like I have been trying to think of ways for a reason to build an AI, a Claude bot or a bot, put it on a Mac Mini and utilize it, but I can't justify it to myself yet because I feel like most of the stuff I do is manual, and I need it. I need it. Like I could. The only thing I can think of to do is to put an AI bot to scrape all my wallets, check all my APRs, and make sure I'm beating Lido with my ETH, or I'm beating risk-free rate with my stablecoins. That's the only thing I can really think of that I would like to be automated. But is it worth paying for the credits to do that every day? And maybe I have enough credits on Venice to have that done every day. But I think with content creation, you can't just give AI the ability to spit it out. Maybe to fetch information for you and to I definitely sometimes I take articles and I feed those into AI and I'm like, can you shorten this down so I don't have to read it all? So I definitely am doing stuff like this, but not to the extent she's doing. But she, you can check it out. You can check out her post here and see what she's talking about. She does spend quite a bit of time talking in circles, but I do that too, and so we're all guilty of that. But yeah, so check her out. Check out this post here and decide whether or not she's got some valuable information for you. Okay, moving on. So here we have Frax Finance. Frax's high yield options come and go, but FRX USD is different. It's the highest risk adjusted stablecoin yield built and to last by our 5-year security track. So I'm going to open up Pharaohs. I should have opened this before, but I'm going to open this up and I'm going to search for SFRX USD. Of course, that doesn't show up, but let's go with this. So opening up the stable coin, if we go to yield sources, what does it say? Yeah. Oh, this is just talking about lending it. Yield source FRX. So 4% current, 30-day average 1.6%. I think these numbers are a little bit off. If I go to actual frax.com and I go to earn, it's currently quoting this. I wish I could probably see the I'll have to do some research on find out where I can find a chart of the historical yield for this. But I do hold SFRX USD, and I am happy with it so far. Maybe it's in the Pro UI. Let's see if I can quickly find it in here. SFRX. No, I want FRX. Yeah, I don't know. Let's. I don't want to dig around too much while I'm on the podcast. This is homework for me, stuff I should have done beforehand. But let's move on. So yeah, you can check it out. So you can go to StableWatch. Maybe I just go to the StableWatch and see what it says there. StableWatch do they not have their website? Here it is. I don't want to go to the Telegram. So StableWatch analytics. So nice long StableWatch APY. And so there is a chart here. Come on, load, accept the cookies. And where can I search? Oh, here I can search SFRX USD. And so here is the APY, and this is 7-day. Let's crank this up to 30-day. And you can see there was some pretty big jacks, and this is probably from exits, people leaving and then returning. But for the past, since November 2025, we've been bouncing around between 4 and 5%, but mostly in the mid 4s. So that's pretty good. That's beating the risk-free rate. So fantastic. And all you have to do is hold this stable coin, and you can get that. So anyhow, you can check it out, consider it. Give this. I'm going to give these guys a follow because that's a pretty cool dashboard that you can fetch that information comfortably. Okay, so moving on. So now we're going to talk about Solana and the wreckage. This is all the talk all over the crypto Twitter right now is Drift got wrecked, and there's all kinds of reasonings behind it. This one is quite interesting to me. So here we have the problem is the people, the problem is not Solana, and it's in reply to DB Crypto's post. So let's go first to DB Crypto's post, and then we'll read the rebuttal. So Drift Protocol just released their thread on the 280 hack. It's worse than anyone thought. There is no coin exploit, no flash loan. It wasn't even a traditional key theft. Solana has a feature called Durable Nonces that lets you sign a transaction today but execute it days or weeks later. Sound familiar, EVM critics? Think of it like writing a signed check, leaving it in someone's drawer until they decide to cash it. The attacker used this to build a time bomb inside Drift's own governance system. So I was wrong. And Solana's architecture did in fact play a role in this exploit occurring, similar to how a hacker exploits approvals on EVM chains. Here's how it played out. Yeah, I'm going to keep going because this is interesting to me. March 23rd, the attacker sets up 4 of these delayed execution accounts. 2 are tied to the Drift Security Council members and 2 belonging to the attacker. At some point, the attacker tricks 2 of the Drift 5 council members into signing transactions they didn't fully understand. Blind signing is something I've called out a lot and a major issue with many of these chains. Drift calls it transaction misrepresentation. But in reality, they were socially engineered into signing their own robbery. Oh God. Those signatures sat dormant for 9 days. 27th of March, Drift rotates its security council. New members, fresh setups. Doesn't matter. The attacker compromises 2 of the 5 new signers too. April 1st, Drift runs the routine test transaction. 60 seconds later, the attacker cashes those pre-signed checks. 2 transactions, 4 slots apart, full admin control. Every vault drained, 280 million gone. And to elaborate on the attack, blind signing, durable nonces with function similarity to approvals, poor key management infrastructure. And now let's read the rebuttal. Where did the rebuttal go? Here is. So he's like, no, that's not the problem. The people are the problem. So the nonces aren't the problem. It's the people, right? So let's see what he has to say. What are these people talking about? Solana's durable nonces are absolutely critical for security purposes when used by competent companies and protocols. EVM model is absolutely awful in this regard. Protocols should pre-sign ownership rotation transactions. In the case of a hack to a greatly distributed cold quorum that is incredibly hard and to solve and slow to retrieve, potentially, including external legal firms and what is he talking about? He's just like, anyhow, let's keep going. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. The idea being that if you detect a live hack in your protocol, you can immediately submit this break the glass transaction that would otherwise require gathering a large quorum. Very asymmetric downs. Oh, so I think I understand it. So what they can do is they can maybe put a pause or an emergency pause function in the queue, sign it all, and then just one person needs to press it. And that's, I think, what he's talking about here. That's what I'm getting from. However, I think that's silly. You can just put a contract. You can just put a separate function with different admin requirements that allows any of your multi-sig people to emergency pause. And all they can do is pause. And then the multi-sig can then assess the situation, and together they can unpause. We don't need these break the glass transactions, as it were. I disagree with that. Okay, obtain. So what does he say? The problem here is 100% between the chair and the computer. Obtain sufficient multi-sig approvals. 205 approval means no protection for admin keys, only 2.5 approval to drain 9 digits of the protocol lol, no time lock, no real-time detection of activities to freeze, no use of durable launches to break the glass transaction to immediately change ownership of the protocol. So I agree with some of the things he says, but I don't. I think there are better ways. Instead of having these durable nonces, you can do what I said. You can have separate admin functions, like emergency counsel versus admin multi-sig. Like, it's as simple as that. And you can do what he says. You can have the break the glass transaction, which is like basically any of you guys, and even some of the community. Anybody can just, like, anyone who has the best interest of the protocol can pause it, right? Like, obviously you don't want to make it a public function, because then people will just maliciously spam it and your protocol will be worthless and pointless. But if you have like some community members as well as you, and people are monitoring it, and anyway, and any of these people can just kind of pause the protocol, but not change things, not, do ownership, not drain the vaults and stuff like that, then that solves the need for any kind of nonces. What did they call them? Fucking permanent nonces or whatever. Anyhow, so let's move on. Okay, so Metropolis, I will come back to this a little bit, because there are some other stuff that I'll bump into as I go through here. It's getting a little bit long, but anyways, this is pretty good stuff. Okay, so Metropolis has dropped a campaign here. I was always a big fan of Metropolis and Trader Joe's, these DLMM vaults. So you can deposit into here and you can get boosted yield in Sonic tokens, as well as, and you're basically depositing into a USDSS pools versus many other different coins. So you go there, check it out, and find out if it's something you want to do. Let's move on. Okay, so here we have a post by Yokai Capital. He's calling out Zach. He's like, I warned Zach that this stuff was happening on Solana, and like for the past 2 years, and Drift Protocol and many users like myself are going to get wrecked. I warned Zach, and then Zach's like, yeah, but you've been DMing me to deal with your problems, and I don't want to deal with your problems. So it's kind of the way I'm reading what Zach says is, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. The guy's constantly DMing Zach saying, oh, help me here, help me with this, help me with this, help me with this. And Zach's just like, shut up, man, stop bothering me. And then when he comes to him with a real, genuine concern, Zach kind of pushes him away and says, stop bothering me, right? So that's kind of how I read that. However, I did reply this, and I said, maybe this entire stuff should be sent to Drift, or to, you can tweet it out yourself. This guy, Yokai Capital, he's got more followers than me. So, yeah. So he doesn't need. Maybe he just wanted Zach to amplify his message, but Zach didn't want to do it. So anyhow, you can read through this and think about it, and think about why, like who you're bothering. And there was some talk in here about like, oh, you don't return any value to me, and you just want me to do your stuff for you, and like, leave me alone, right? So anyways, moving on. So Hayden has some more to say about this hack, this Drift hack thing, and he's got a really good point that I wanted to mention, but I was waiting for this tweet. I forgot to sort this. I'm sorry. Okay. So people may accuse me of grave dancing for saying this. This is Hayden's words. But we have to stop letting centralized things call themselves DeFi. Admin keys can drain all the funds. That's crazy, right? So he has a very good point here. Like, if you design the protocol so the admins don't have the power to take all the money, then you don't have these private key problems, or these permanent nonces. I gotta remember this word. I'm gonna go back and find it. What's it called? Nonces, durable nonces. There we go, durable nonces. So yeah, if you don't have then you don't have these durable nonces where they can drain all the money, because the admins don't have the power to do that. So protocols like Uniswap cannot empty all the money from the liquidity pools. Another good example is Liquidity. Liquidity has collateral inside the smart contracts, but there's no admin keys at all. They have no ability to empty any of those contracts. They believe in the code, and they don't give the admins any power to exit and pull that liquidity out. So yeah, you can think of that. Is it really DeFi if the admins can drain all the funds with in the case of the 205 multisig? That's no, of course not. You're trusting. Moving on. So here we have talk that's related, but not exactly that. So during this hack, right, this drift hack, tons of USDC was taken. So DB Crypto, again, he's on a roll today. So he says this: Circle froze 16 wallets instantly for a sealed civil case in March with no public explanation. So we talked, that happened last week. You remember that, or last month, right? So they froze all these wallets because of some civil case. And then they unfroze some of them, and there's no explanation of why they did it and why they unfroze it. It's just like, we'll say nothing and do what we want. That's what USDC did. However, but $258,000 were stolen from Drift, bridged via their own bridge for hours during business hours, and nothing happens. So there's another tweet here about that. So Zach is also retweeting the same thing. So Circle says 2 things are evolving together: how value moves and how we get it done. So here is the CEO of Twitter, of Circle, talking, shilling his work, talking about the world in the Economic Club of New York. Okay. And then Zach is replying like, hey, Circle was asleep while millions of USDC was swapped via CCTP, their bridge, and from Solana to Ethereum for hours. From a 9-figure drift attack hack during US hours. Value was moved and nothing was done yet again. Comes days after you froze $16. So again, so they're just kind of saying the same thing. But yeah, like Circle doesn't go after the hackers, but they go after these little like plebs because there's some sort of civil suit. Like, come on, guys, wake up, wake the hell up. Anyhow, so I don't know. You can think about this and decide what you feel about this and how you feel about that. Okay, so this tweet I've talked about. So yeah, I did talk about this, right? I talked about what Hayden says, and then there's Omar's tweet here, which is pretty good. So Omar kind of goes in a little bit more in depth on all of the process of this hack and kind of what happened. It's as you can see, there are 19 posts in this thread talking a deep dive basically on how did this Solana hack kind of happen and what's going on. If you want to deep dive into it, I think I've explained enough of it to kind of give you a good picture of it. But if you really want to dig deep, you can kind of go in here and read Omar's tweet here from Chaos. He's the founder of Chaos Labs and so forth. So moving on. So outside of crypto, I've got 2 tweets for you today. So number one, this makes me kind of happy. As we all know, I'm in Canada. I'm a pretty conservative person. I'm not a hyper conservative person, but I'm more conservative than liberal, especially with the current situation and how life is like here in Canada. And I'm happy to see Pierre Pellier is on Diary with a CEO today, and last week he did Joe Rogan, and I saw him on trigonometry. So yeah, he's doing the rounds, and he's talking to the people on podcasts. We don't see Carney doing any of this, but Carney's the prime minister, so maybe he's too busy for this. Maybe he's not campaigning. But everything that he says, it has logic behind it for the most part. Can he fix everything? If he becomes Prime Minister of Canada, will Canada do a 180 and become affordable and fixed? No, but at least he can set it on the right path and try to fix some of the things that are wrong with Canada right now, hopefully. Now, we see the same thing happen. Like President Trump took over. He promised things. He promised, one, the Epstein files would be released and people would go to jail. Nobody really has, right? No changes there. He promised Doge would make massive cuts. Doge found all of this stuff, but I haven't heard any cuts. Maybe I'm unplugged a little bit. So it's a tough one, but will I vote for Pierre or will I vote for Carney? That's my own business. But you probably can guess, right? But anyhow, we'll see. I just wanted to share that he is on this podcast, and you can watch the full thing now on there. So I will probably watch this sometime when I have some free time. Next one, this is a nice long article on sugar and why sugar is a addictive substance, and it's pretty good. There's quite a bit of information in here about why you shouldn't be taking sugar, but then it does kind of shill a treatment of like ibogaine. So yeah, sugar addiction is far more deadly than society acknowledges. Ibogaine offers a scientifically grounded receptor, a specific therapy that doesn't suppress cravings temporarily. It repairs the underlying damage. So I used to love sugar, and what did I do? I decided I don't want to eat sugar anymore, and I stopped eating it. Now maybe I don't have an addictive personality. Maybe I'm stoic and I have immense willpower, but I don't think so. But I can make choices to reduce my sugar intake, and of course, sometimes I go for coffee at the Italian supermarket, and I'll have a little tiramisu with that, and that's loaded with sugar, and then I'll suffer the next couple days because my body can no longer tolerate sugar, and I break out and I get like inflammation in my sinuses, and then the inflammation rises to my skin. I get flaky skin. So, maybe that helps, right? When I cut it out, and then I saw how much it improved my life, and then when I go back into it, it gives me these side effects, these symptoms. So it's very easy for me to cut it out. But maybe for other people, they don't get these reminders that sugar is bad for you. But yeah, you can read through this this article. I would question the idea of using a specific drug in order to offset it. It's kind of like taking methadone instead of being a heroin addict. But does methadone fix heroin addiction? Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm sure there are scientists out there or people who have done the research and who would say yes, it is. And there are obviously good things about taking methadone instead of heroin, or fentanyl or something, right? It's obviously better than that, but it's the lesser of two evils. I think I don't know anything about this ibogaine, and I might do some research on it, but I thought I would share this and talk a little bit about sugar and why I kind of feel to myself that sugar is so much easier to just avoid when you just go cold turkey for like 2 weeks. Just force yourself. Just no cola, no sugar in your coffee, no cakes, no simple carbs like breads, and just cut it all out for 2 weeks and muscle through it, right? And then afterwards, see how you feel when you take it, when you reintroduce it into your diet, and see what it's like. Now, again, maybe I'm an individual who has a very strong willpower and doesn't have a addictive personality. But anyhow, so I thought I'd share that and talk a little bit about these two things, and that's it. So thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.